So Surah Al-Masad, which is a chapter about one of the famous enemies of Islam, Abu Lahab. Based on the historical document, we know that he was uncle of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was trying to stand against Islam, and he did everything in his power to bother the Prophet and also to bother his followers. And he was trying to stop his invitation, and he was trying to stop him in his path and in his prophecy. This chapter is actually a message from God to him and also everyone who is doing the same. So we cannot say that this chapter was a conversation between God and one of his enemy 1400 years ago. It's actually talking to everyone who is doing the same and who is actually doing the same actions, trying to stand against God and his religion. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Tabbat yada abi lahaban wa tab. May Abu Lahab's hands perish and may he perish as well. Abu Lahab is a actually name that God is using here to introduce him. Uh, Based on some interpretations, it seems that his name wasn't Abu Lahab before this chapter. And God didn't want to mention his real name or his given name in this verse, because if he used his real name in this verse, then we should say, okay, it's just talking to him. And this chapter is only about that specific person. Instead of that, God used another name for him, Abu Lahab, which, as I said, based on some interpretation, it seems that the first time that he was described as Abu Lahab was this chapter. We are not for sure. We are not sure about this, but it seems so. That this is the first time that he is described as Abu Lahab. Abu Lahab means the fire, the father of fire, the father of fire, or the person who kindled the fire. Abu means father, and Lahab means the blazing of fire. And it seems that God wanted to describe him with this kind of a name to tell us that this chapter is about everyone who kindled a fire against Islam, against the religion of God, or against the Prophet. So when it says May Abu Lahab, it's not only that person. Of course, it is talking to that person as well, but it's about everyone who kindled a fire against Islam and everyone who is trying to stand against the religion of God and against the Prophet. So it says Abi Lahab, the father of fire. And it says, may Abu Lahab's hands, yada, yadane, or hands, it's actually referring to both of his hands, because hands are a symbol of the tools and all of those equipment and all of the power that the person is using to do something. We usually say that he did something with his hands, or it means that he did that action with all of his power. Specifically, when it says hands, yadane, it was yadane, which is now changed to yada. When it says hands, both of his hands, it means that all of his power that he had, he tried to use all of his power, all of the equipment and everything that he had to stand against Islam and stand against the Prophet. So it says, may Abu Lahab's hand perish and may he perish. Which means may all of those powers and his wealth and everything that he had perish, and also his character. He as the same person. So uh, about this verse, we can translate it or interpret it in two ways. The one way is like this, which is kind of a curse, and God is saying that may he perish. And also, it can be like a news. and being translated as a past tense verb, and saying Abu Lahab has perished and he perished. Both are the same. Why? Because when God said, may Abu Lahab's hand perish, is actually a curse from God, and of course it will happen. So even if we consider it as a curse, it will happen in a few days, in a few years, it will happen. So translating it in these two ways are actually the same, and both means that his power, his hands, and his wealth, and everything perished, and also he perished. So about yada. Yada is actually explained in the next verse to tell us what was the yada, or those two hands that he used to stand against the prophet and bother him. It says, "Ma aghna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab." His wealth and all he gained did not avail him, which means everything that he did, and his wealth and everything that he had, they actually didn't help him to reach to his goal, and he wasn't successful in standing against the prophet. Um, Based on his wealth and all he gained, we can understand that yada, or those two hands, was his wealth and also his social character, like because he was a popular person and people were watching him and following him. So these two hands were actually his wealth and his social character, that people were following him. He was a famous person, like the influencer in the Instagram and stuff like that. They have a good effect on people, and they can attract people, and people listen to him. So these two hands were actually his health and also his social character. All he gained means all of those his sociality that he had in that society. And tabbat, how that perishment happened. What was tabbat? First verse told us that he perished, but how he perished? Sayasla naran zata lahab. He will soon enter a fire with flames. See, lahab in the third verse is the same as the first verse. Lahab, he was the father of the flame of the fire, and now he is gonna be punished with a fire with flames at the same level, because he was trying to kindle a fire against the prophet. Now he is gonna enter a fire with flames. That is how he's gonna be perished. وَامْرَأَتُهُ حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ. And he is not alone. His wife will enter this fire as well while carrying firewood. The point is, why his wife? Because he did something wrong and he had some wrong actions. Now his wife should be punished with him. It's not fair, because if someone did something wrong, then we shouldn't, then his wife shouldn't be punished because another person did something else, something bad. The point is, his wife was helping him. How we can understand that? Because it says while carrying firewood, she is the one on the hellfire who is carrying firewood for the hellfire, because he was doing the same in this world. He was the person who was actually carrying the firewood for for her husband, and she was helping him. And every time that her husband wanted to be like to stop all of those actions, she was the person who was trying to encourage him and starting another fire again. So she was actually carrying firewood in this world, and she will enter a fire with flames in the situation that she is carrying firewood, because she did the same in this world. So everything that we are doing in this world, we are going to see the nature of that action on the other side. And also, based on some interpretation, it says that she was trying to bother the prophet by spreading a thorny in his path to bother him, to hurt his feet and stuff like that. So, as he was trying to bother the prophet in this world, she's gonna be bothered in a similar way on the other side. And she will enter a fire with flames while she is carrying firewood. في جيدها حبل من مسد. Around her neck is a rope of palm fiber, and she will enter the fire in this situation while she has something around her neck and carrying something with her, like palm fiber. And I asked our professor why palm fiber, and she said that because uh, it seems that on those years, that bag that they were carrying those stuff in it was made from the palm fiber, and it's a very coarse thing, and it's really bothering. And she put all of those thorny stuff in that bag to actually bother the prophet, to spread it in his path. Uh, well, in a similar way, she's gonna be punished on the other side with a rope of palm fiber around her neck. And we know that palm fiber is very coarse, and it's very bothering when it's like a rope around the neck. And that is a punishment for her, because she was helping her husband in this world and trying to kindle the fire, stand against the prophet, and standing against the Islam. So this chapter, now it's very obvious why God did send down this chapter. He sent down this chapter because a person was trying to stand against the prophet and Islam, and he used everything in his power, his wealth and his social character, and he wasn't alone. His wife was helping also. Both of them are going to be punished on the other side. And everything that they did in this world, it's not gonna bother Islam and the Prophet. They are doing their job, and Islam is growing, and everything that they did, all of it perished, and they've never succeed to stop Prophet and stop Islam. So, and the main point that God wanted to emphasize on it was the main goal of this chapter was emphasizing on the ineffectiveness of the actions of Abu Lahab and the perdition of his personality due to his animosity toward God. So if you have any question for this chapter, you can ask your question. I'm going to stop the recording. No.